Hi everyone, this is Ellen from the Astrology Journal. I want to talk more about Mercury entering Capricorn. It's going to be doing that on January 13th, 2024. That's Saturday, or that'll happen in the evening, east coast of the United States, or if you're in Europe, it'll happen early on Sunday morning. So in the last video, I talked about Mercury in Capricorn from a personal perspective. I got some insight based on my own personal healing. And in the video before that, for the new moon in Capricorn that's happening a couple days before, I just talked generally about the energies for this week. So the week of January 8th, Monday, January 8th to Sunday, January 14th. And I had an insight about the archetypes in this from the perspective of business. So Mercury entering Capricorn, Mercury represents business, commerce. So as the ruler of Gemini, it represents commerce. And Capricorn is very much a business-oriented, can be a very business-oriented sign. It's about being out in the world. So this idea of business. And the insight that came to me was from a course that I'm taking, and actually a book that I've been reading that talks about business as from the perspective of relationships. And what business is, by definition, is relationships. And so it's a really, by the way, I recommend the book greatly, tremendously. It's a book called Heart of Business by Mark Silver. It's he really changes the framing of what business is and how to enter into it and how to do it. So I highly recommend that book. So, if you notice here, I don't think I had this highlighted in the last video, we have this yod pattern that includes Uranus with the South Node and Venus. And the finger is kind of on Uranus, which is awakening. But that, we need to think about that in terms of if we're looking at Capricorn, Mercury and Capricorn. So Mercury is ruled by Capricorn, and Mercury is in Capricorn. It's ruled by Saturn, which is in Pisces. Saturn is the reality along with Capricorn, and Pisces is love, the ocean of love. It's what actually is reality. Saturn is the conditioned reality, and to the extent that's in alignment with the ocean of love, it's wonderful, it's fine. But to the extent that it's out of alignment with that, our conditioning brings us out of alignment with that basic truth of love, then it needs to fall away. Those conditionings that aren't in alignment with this reality, the ultimate reality, needs to start falling away. So Saturn is in the sesquiquadrate with the South Node, which I talked about in the last video, and I also talked about it in the video before that on the new moon. So the last video was about Mercury, and the one before that was about the new moon. So the South Node is in Libra. Libra is about love too. It's about relationships, love and relationships. So it's ruled by Venus, and Venus also rules Taurus. And in Taurus, we can say that's about building love for ourselves. It's about self-relationship. And so Venus is thought of as the lower octave of Neptune. And Neptune rules Pisces. And Pisces, again, so Neptune is about that ocean of love. It's about the just love that just is no matter what. It's everywhere, all pervasive. It's in us, it's outside of us, it's everywhere. It's the only true reality. And so the way I think of it is in Venus, what we're doing is we're learning to incarnate that reality of love. And so first we learn it within ourselves. We learn to establish love within ourselves. And then once we have that platform of love, of just being in loving self-relationship, we can then enter into relationships and start to give and receive that love. But to the extent that our conditioning prevents us from being able to establish ourselves in love. So you can see, by the way, so Taurus is the first earth sign and Capricorn is the last earth sign. But what we build up is Taurus build, and then what we practice, Virgo, becomes our reality in Capricorn. And that reality, we then are, new babies or whatever, are born into that reality, because that reality is what's structured for society generally. And so the new babies are born into that. And to the extent that these structures don't support us in establishing ourselves in love for ourselves, and not vain, egotistical, narcissistic love, but just really deep, permeating love for ourselves, then when we enter relationships with others, it becomes, we start to we'll experience imbalances, and what those imbalances are doing on a certain level are showing up those imbalances of love, deficits, we could say, Capricorn deficits of love within ourselves. So that's part of the work in Libra, is when we experience those imbalances. And I don't mean the regular dynamic imbalances. I mean the imbalances that are really, extreme and problematic. But even those little ones, actually, those can become barometers for us. They may be showing us where we're out of love, and if we can do that work along the way of addressing what comes up in those little dynamic shifts, then we can have a kind of a stable, lasting relationship. Anyway, so the South Node is about our evolutionary past, or just the past, if you want to just think about it that way, and it's in Libra. And Saturn, again, ruler of Capricorn about our reality, Mercury in Capricorn, so we can think about the business side of Capricorn, the business side of Mercury. And Saturn, the reality. So to the extent that the commerce has been conditioned, our way of doing business has been conditioned out of alignment with love, with loving relationship with one another, then Saturn in Pisces is asking us to start to let go of that old conditioning and start to become aware of that misalignment, and so that awareness is the first step, so that we can then start to readjust, reshape our practices, start to do different practices. Mercury is ruler of Virgo, and the sesquiquadrate as having to do with Virgo also, the practices. So we want to start entering into figuring out what those practices are that help us nurture and nourish and groove love into being and into ourselves and into relationship, and start to become aware of what those practices are and do those. So a lot of times, you talk about love and people are like, oh, love, airy fairy, whatever. But it's only that to the extent that we don't practice it. So we have the power to practice love into being or something else into being. And the challenge is we enter into these structures that are already out of alignment with love. And so that's our reality. And so our mind is conditioned to say that's just the way it is. It's not just the way it is, it's what's been conditioned. It's what's been practiced into being. It's what's been grooved into reality. But we can change that. First step is becoming aware. And the second step is starting to understand we want to make practices that are about love, like brushing our teeth, right? We just get up and brush our teeth. We just do it. Same with practices. So in a way, Capricorn is about the practices that have been so established that we just do them without thinking. So what are those practices that we're practicing into being? We want when we're driving a car, and we just start doing things, we don't think about it. Well, we want to make sure that with the things we're just doing aren't going to get us into a car accident, right? We want to have the right practices established. So the same thing with anything else, including love, as far as I can see, that, we just want to practice. We want to figure out what are those practices that actually bring us back into alignment with love and allow us to deepen it and build it further and further, build it towards more and more. So Uranus in a couple weeks is going to be stationing direct, and so awakening, you could say awakening to deficits of love for ourselves, and again, healthy love for ourselves, really deep, permeating, humbling love for ourselves. Virgo, Mercury rules Virgo. Virgo is about that humbling energy. So, and then Pluto next week is going to be entering into Aquarius on the 20th in the east coast of the United States. It'll be the 21st, I think, if you're in Europe. So Pluto entering into Aquarius, it'll stay there until September something or other. I think maybe September 1st. I'm not sure about that. And then it'll be moving back into Capricorn very briefly for just a couple of months, and then it'll move back into Aquarius, and it'll be there for the duration. Uranus rules Capricorn. Uranus rules Aquarius. Saturn, in traditional astrology, Saturn also rules Aquarius. So we have this kind of double signature of awakening and also letting go of realities that are out of alignment with love, and learning to bring into our awareness and then into our practice those things that are in alignment with love, and practicing, building those and practicing those into being. And in relationship to business, it matters in business too. If relationships are business, and this is what Mark Silver says in his book, if relationships are about business, and he also says it in his course, then if business is about relationships, then business is about the act of love. And business becomes another opportunity to practice love. And so the question is, can we shape business practices that actually allow us to be in alignment with love and be in alignment with loving a relationship with others? And that's a matter of discernment, and that would be Libra, discernment. Virgo too, in a way, discernment and discrimination. Being able to see this versus that. So the more that we can do that, the more we can actually build that reality we really want, which is a reality that's about love and caring for one another. So those are my thoughts. I just wanted to share that. It was really hugely insightful for me when I was listening listening to this idea that business is about relationships, and thinking about the astrology signatures. So I hope there was something useful and helpful for you, and thank you for listening. I really, it means a lot to me that people take their time to listen to anything that I have to say. So thank you for that. And remember, take what works and leave the rest. Whatever is true for you is what's right, not what I say or anything I share. So my hope is that in sharing, it opens up, by me sharing what I see or what I experience or anything like that, that it somehow helps you to kind of see things that you might not have been seeing, or it helps you see things that have nothing to do with what I was saying, but somehow it helps. So anyway, I hope that made sense. Anyway, thank you so much, and I'll leave it there, and have a beautiful day. Okay, bye.